Imagine landing your first summer job at a creepy old antique shop, only to find a locked room, hiding a mirror that doesn't just reflect you, it replaces you. I thought I was alone, but 3 days later, my reflection smiled and walked out. Now it's living my life. And if I don't stop it, I'll be trapped forever. Want to know how it ends? Keep watching, if you dare. I had just finished high school, and like most parents, mine weren't happy with the idea of me lying around all summer doing nothing. So they told me to get a job. Problem was, I had no qualifications, and I lived in a town that felt like time forgot about it. Eventually, I found something posted on the notice board at the local post office. Help wanted, assistant shopkeeper at Crawley Antiques. No experience necessary. Now, everyone in my town knew Old Man Crawley. The kids used to call him Creepy Crawley. We'd ding-dong ditch his house every Halloween. Not because he did anything creepy. He just looked the part, and the nickname stuck. But hey, the job paid, and I needed something. So I took the ad home. I was about to call the number when my dad walked in. He told me to go in person, give a firm handshake, make eye contact, all the usual dad wisdom. I groaned, but eventually I agreed. The next day, I biked over to Crawley's Antiques. The place was tucked into what used to be an old church hall, now transformed into a dusty maze of old furniture and knickknacks. The air inside smelled like time itself. Wood, fabric, and things that should have been buried decades ago. I wandered past cabinets, carved tables. Then I saw a glass case full of old war memorabilia, bayonets, gas masks, medals. That's when I saw him. Old Man Crawley. Wild white hair, tweed jacket with elbow patches. He looked like the love child of Einstein and a history professor. He looked up and smiled. "Oh, my apologies, I didn't see you there. Welcome, welcome." He came around the counter with his hand extended. "I'm Mr. Crawley. Interested in any of my fine wares?" "Actually, I'm here about the job." I held up the ad. His face lit up like Christmas morning. "Wonderful. A young person interested in history. Fantastic." He gave me the grand tour, excitedly telling me about every item in the store, where it came from, who made it, what year it was from. Most of it flew over my head, but he had the energy of a kid showing off his toys. Eventually, I asked him the important stuff. How much it paid, when I'd be working. "Perfect timing," he said. "I leave tomorrow to pick up an extraordinary old wardrobe. Built in 1785. I just need someone to keep watch while I'm gone." We went over the boring stuff, register, keys, locks. Then he asked me to show up at 9 a.m. sharp the next morning. That night, I told my parents I got the job. They were proud, and for the first time in a while, I felt proud too. Day 1, I showed up just before 9. Crawley was inside, organizing paperwork. He walked me through a few last-minute details. As we were locking up the back door, I noticed a narrow hallway, with one door at the end. I reached for the handle. Don't worry about that one," he said quickly. "It stays locked." "Why?" I asked. "What's in there?" "Just rarer items. Best left undisturbed." He smiled, but it didn't feel casual. Something about the way he said it felt final. He left, and just like that, I was alone, caretaker of Crawley's oddities. Day 2, pretty uneventful. Some old folks came in. A guy in a Hawaiian shirt asked about the war display. No one bought anything. It was easy money. Until the end of the day, during closing checks. That door, the one Crawley told me not to touch, it was wide open. My stomach dropped. I didn't even have a key. It had definitely been shut. Panicking, I called Crawley. "Is something wrong with the shop?" "Yeah, the back room door. It's open." Silence. "Listen to me. Close the door. Don't look inside. Don't look at the mirror." "Wait, mirror? What's wrong with the mirror?" "Just promise me you won't look at it." Click. I stood there, holding the phone. A mirror? Why would he have to warn me not to look at a mirror? But I didn't look. I closed the door, and I left. Day 3. No customers. Just me. Alone. The silence in the shop felt heavier now. I kept glancing at the hallway, and when I finally checked at the end of the day, yeah, it was open. Again. But this time, I stepped inside. The room was pitch black. Only the light from the hallway behind me cut through the shadows. In the center of the room was a large shape under a white sheet. I pulled it off. It was a tall, full-length mirror, framed in dark, carved wood. I stared into it. My reflection stared back. I waved. It waved. I laughed. Maybe Crawley just liked messing with people. I wiped sweat from my forehead, and that's when I froze. My reflection didn't move. It just stared at me. Its eyes were sunken. Its mouth began to curl into a smile. Too wide, too unnatural. Then it stepped backward, never breaking eye contact. It stepped out of the mirror, into the hallway behind it, and the door slammed shut. I heard footsteps running. Heavy, fast. I chased the sound out of the room, through the shop, and onto the street. But there was nothing. No people. No me. And my bike? Gone. I reached for my phone to call Crawley. But just then, I got a text. It was from my mom. "Are you okay? You've been standing across the street from the house for a while. Is that you?" My heart was racing. I stared down at the text from my mom. "Are you okay? You've been standing across the street from the house for a while. Is that you?" Except, I wasn't across the street. I was still outside Crawley's shop. Alone. I looked up, scanning the empty road. Nothing. No one there. No me. Just quiet pavement and a sinking feeling in my chest. I texted her back. "What are you talking about?" "I'm at work." A few seconds passed. Then she replied. "I saw you. You didn't knock. You just stood there, staring. You even waved at me." I didn't go home that night. I didn't feel like I could. Instead, I found this 24-hour diner on the edge of town. I sat in a booth with a cold cup of coffee, watching condensation trail down the window, trying to make sense of what I'd seen. I looked up stories on my phone. Old folklore, doppelgangers, mirror legends. There were so many, and almost all of them ended the same way. The copy always wants to replace you. The next morning, I called Mr. Crawley. No answer. I left a voicemail. "Something's wrong. Please call me back." I didn't know what I was expecting, but I knew one thing. I needed to go back to the shop. I arrived around 8 a.m. The door was still locked from the night before. Inside, everything looked untouched. Still, silent. But then I turned the corner. And of course, the hallway door, the one that should have been sealed shut, was wide open. This time, I didn't hesitate. I walked in. The mirror was still there, but something about it was off. It didn't show my reflection, just blackness. A deep, empty void, like staring into an open tunnel. I took one step closer, and the surface of the glass rippled, like water. And then, something stepped out. It was me. Same hair, same shirt, same face. But the eyes, they weren't right. They looked fake. Too perfect. Too still. It smiled. I backed away, heart pounding. "What are you?" I asked. It grinned wider. "I'm better." Then it lunged. I turned and ran. I don't know how I got away. Maybe it let me. Maybe it didn't want to hurt me. Maybe it just wanted to watch me fall apart. I slammed the hallway door shut, wedged a chair under the handle, and bolted. I didn't stop running until I reached home. My mom answered the door, and for a second, she looked confused. "Wait, didn't you just?" And then, he appeared at the top of the stairs. The other me. Same clothes. Same scratch on my knuckle. Same everything. He looked down at me, tilted his head, smiled. "You left the door open," he said calmly. So I walked in. My mom looked between us. One real, one not. I tried to explain. "Mom, that's not me." But the other me walked down the stairs, put a hand gently on her shoulder. "He's having a breakdown," he said. "I think he needs help." And she believed him. She believed him. I ran. I've been on the road ever since. Motel to motel, paying in cash, avoiding mirrors, avoiding myself. He's living my life now. He eats dinner with my family. He texts my friends. He even posted a selfie the other day. Same angle I always use. Summer's finally shaping up. Feeling good. He's taken everything. And I don't know how to stop him. But sometimes, I think about that mirror. And I wonder, what if I went back? Would I see him again? Or would I see something else? What if I stepped in? What would happen if I took his place? It's been 6 days since the mirror replaced me. 6 days since I've had a home. Since I've eaten a meal that didn't come from a vending machine. Since anyone has looked me in the eye and known who I was. I'm not sure what's worse, that I lost my life, or that he's doing a better job of living it than I ever did. Every night, I check my family's house from across the street. Sometimes I see him through the windows, eating dinner with my mom, wearing my hoodie, laughing with my little brother. He looks comfortable, happy even. And every time I see him, he looks back at me. But last night, something changed. I was watching the house from behind a tree when I noticed the garage light flicker, then go out, then the porch light, then the hallway. The house went dark, room by room. But the one place that stayed lit was my old bedroom. He was standing at the window, waving, just like that night, when it all began. And I swear, he mouthed something. Come home. I can't explain it. I don't even want to explain it. But this morning, I went back to Crawley's Antiques. The front door was unlocked. Inside, everything was covered in plastic sheets. Chairs, cabinets, war memorabilia, all wrapped like the place had been abandoned for years. But it hadn't. I'd been here just a week ago. It didn't make sense. It didn't feel right. I walked down the hallway. The door to the back room stood open, and the mirror was waiting. Uncovered. Still. Silent. This time, it showed my reflection. But not the me I am now. It showed him. He was in my bedroom, sitting on my bed. He smiled and waved. Then he held something up to the mirror. My school ID. He dropped it onto the floor, like bait. Then pointed to it, like he wanted me to come back. And I did. I stepped through the mirror. The air on the other side. It wasn't normal. It was cold. Still. Like I was underwater without being wet. Everything looked like my room. But the walls were too tall. The shadows too long. There were no windows. No doors. Just reflections everywhere. And in the center of it all, there he was. Waiting. He stood slowly. Didn't say a word. We stared at each other. And for a moment, I felt it. That connection. Like we really were two halves of the same thing. And then he said it. You're not supposed to be here. I lunged. Tried to grab him. Tried to rip the ID from his hand. Tried to fight. But it didn't matter. He was stronger. I woke up on the other side of the mirror. The real side. The shop. My reflection was back to normal. Except now, I couldn't move. I was staring into the glass. Frozen. From the inside. That's when I realized. I didn't come back. He did. And I'm trapped. So if you're watching this, if you ever see an antique mirror covered in dust, locked in the back of some old store, don't look into it. Don't touch it. And whatever you do, never follow your reflection. Because if it smiles first, it's already too late. I didn't go back to work the next day. Crawley never called. And I didn't text him either. I mean, what would I even say? How do you explain to someone that your reflection walked out of a mirror, stole your bike, and stood across the street from your house, smiling at your mom? I stayed in my room most of the day. Curtains shut. Door locked. My parents thought I was sick. I let them. But I knew something was still out there. Watching. Every time I walked by a mirror, I hesitated. Then I started noticing something strange. My reflection. It wasn't copying me anymore. At first it was subtle. A blink just half a second too late. A smile that lingered too long. But then, it didn't turn when I turned. Didn't walk away when I did. Once, I caught it just staring. Not mimicking, just watching. I covered every mirror in the house after that. Then, I got a text. From Crawley. I'm back. We need to talk. Come to the shop tonight. Alone. I didn't want to go, but I needed answers. The shop was dimly lit when I arrived. Crawley sat under a single lamp. He looked older. Tired. You opened the door, didn't you? He said. His voice wasn't angry. Just hollow. I didn't mean to, I told him. The mirror, what is it? He stood and motioned toward the hallway. It's not a mirror, he said quietly. It's a gate. One way. Until it decides otherwise. We walked together down the narrow hall. The door, the one he warned me about, was wide open again. Inside, the mirror shimmered faintly in the dark. Its surface almost breathing. You have to put it back, Crawley whispered. Put what back? He looked at me. The reflection. Before it replaces you completely. He handed me something wrapped in cloth. A shard of the mirror's frame. Sharp. Cold. This lets you through, he said. But don't stay long. I stepped forward. Pressed the shard to the surface. It gave way like water. And I fell through. The world on the other side was wrong. Everything mirrored. Backward signs. Still air. No sound at all. Then I saw it. Me. Or what used to be me. Its face twitched with delight. It grinned. Too wide. Too forced. Like someone pretending to be human. And it lunged. I fought it. Stabbed the shard into its chest. It let out this horrible, soundless scream. Not with noise, but something deeper. A vibration that rattled my spine. It collapsed. And the glass behind me began to glow. I ran. And dove through. I landed back in the mirror room. But Crawley was gone. So was the mirror. All that remained was the empty frame. I never saw Crawley again. The shop was shuttered the next day. No sign it had ever existed. No listing. No owner. Nothing. I still check my reflection every day, just in case. Waiting for a blink that's half a second off. For a smile that doesn't quite reach the eyes. So far, I'm still me, I think. If you enjoyed this horror series, don't forget to like, subscribe, and tell me in the comments.